last night I saw Totally Killer. Actually, I've seen it twice at this point in time. So here are my thoughts on it. Hi, my name is Nathan, and I talk about a bunch of movies on this channel. If you're new here, down below in the comment section, share what you thought of Totally Killer. Over on my channel, I have more content like this. Check those out. When this video is over, if you enjoy what you're seeing, click that like button and be sure to subscribe because it really does help a lot. And as a point of reference, this is not really a movie I had on my radar all that much until like last week when it dropped. And I didn't watch it until yesterday, or actually no, the day before yesterday, and then I watched it again the next day. And so, pretty interesting way to go in the movie not knowing much about it. And so, with that said, let's just get started with the review. And this is kind of just going to be a one-take, genuine, honest review. And when it comes to this movie, it's a bit like if you took Back to the Future and Scream, like a bunch of slasher movies, but mainly Scream, mashed them up, those two movies up together, you get Totally Killer. And that kind of sounds ridiculous at face value, as there's a time travel movie, it's sort of a revenge story, it's a slasher, it's a comedy. Take a blend of those things, you mix them together, maybe that shouldn't work, but I think that this movie was just so much fun and very entertaining. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I have seen it twice, and that's because, you know, one night just stayed up with my friend at my friend's house and we watched it, and then the next night I watched it with my brother, and both times they were very entertaining, very watchable. And also, I would say it gets better on second viewing for me personally, because I noticed some things about it that I didn't notice on first glance. And so, just very entertaining, a bunch of fun. And I think the reason that it works better on second viewing is that every single little detail matters. And line matters. If you don't know, I'm a big fan of Back to the Future. I got my Back to the Future shirt right here. And if you don't know, Back to the Future is my favorite movie of all time. So, and what I love about Back to the Future is that every single line of dialogue and detail matters. Lines about the clock tower in Back to the Future, lines about their parents meeting, it's all important, and even some little joke, it pays off later on in the film. That's what I really enjoy about Back to the Future. That's also what I really enjoy about this movie. If I had just sat down here, shot this review on one viewing, I don't think that I would perceive of it as well, because on second viewing I just noticed all these little lines of dialogue that come into play later in the movie, and I thought that was just very clever, very smart the way that they did that, just like how I love Back to the Future. And so I just thought that aspect of it just really, really worked for me. Another thing to talk about here is that because I'm such a big fan of Back to the Future, I think this movie is very catering towards me as a person. I like Scream, I like Back to the Future, and so combine the two together, and for me it shouldn't work, but I think they just found just the right mix to have these kills where they're just stabbing people and stuff like that, but also have that comedy, charming vibe of Back to the Future. And as a big Back to the Future fan, I do not mind that. And so, very much a movie targeted for me. I think it is made for me, and anybody else who likes Back to the Future and Scream, I think, will like this movie. And other thing to talk about here, there are just some very distinct characters. Well, am I going to remember them like 5 years from now? Probably not. But when you watch this movie, all of them have something distinct that stands out about them among the group of people, in the way they act, their relationships with each other and everything. And other thing that really gives this movie a big advantage is that it's a movie about a 2023 high schooler traveling back in time to 1987 And the movie just plays around with the fact that 1987 is very, very different from the way that we perceive of things in 2023 and how our societal expectations have changed. In which case, in 1987, there's a bunch of more inappropriate, more of those crass things that aren't necessarily in you wouldn't expect in 2023. And so, I don't know, I just thought it was very well done. I thought it was very good. And to me, the reveals, the twists and turns about who the killer actually is, they made sense. I didn't mind it. I think they made sense with what they set up, and they make sense in the film. And about who the killer actually was. And I thought, yeah, just throwing those nice little twists there about why this character is doing all this stuff. Why are they trying to kill people? And so, in general, I just thought this was a really good movie. But I'll say one thing. I think one of the reveals in this movie is quite obvious. There's this one scene that lasts like 30 seconds of a few shots that I think make it really obvious who's sort of doing all this stuff, who's behind all this. Like, I don't want to go into spoilers or anything like that, but I think one of the reveals was fairly obvious about, like it's very hard to say that without spoilers, but in general, very well done movie, very much my type of thing. Like, it is targeted towards me, like, very much my type of thing. But I enjoyed it for what it was, and so overall, I'll give it an A, actually. I think of the 2023 streaming movies, direct-to-streaming, I think this is the best of the bunch. So, if you love time travel, if you love slasher movies, and if you like comedy, I think Totally Killer is a great mix of them all. Definitely check this one out. And so, thank you guys so much for sticking around to the end. Click that like button, be sure to subscribe. It really does help a lot over on my channel. I have more content like this. Check those out right now. Thank you guys so much for sticking around to the end, and I will see you in the next one.